Since coming into office in 2015, the Buhari administration has recorded unprecedented achievements in all sectors, especially in the provision of infrastructure, which is the key to economic growth. Never in the history of this country has any administration done so much with so little. I recall that when this administration came into office, the price of crude oil, which provides for 80% of Nigeria's budgetary revenues and 95% of foreign exchange earning, dropped drastically, thus reducing the amount of resources available to the federal government. In spite of this, the administration has continued apace with massive infrastructure developments, covering rail, maritime, road, housing, bridges, water resources, power, aviation, health, agriculture, and others. And has in addition also embarked on a massive procurement of platforms for the military. In commemoration of the second anniversary of President Muhammad Buhari's second term, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture has produced a documentary to showcase his president's achievements since assuming office in general and in the past 2 years in particular.
My name is Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning. This is the second anniversary of President Muhammadu Buhari's second tenure. There's a lot of work that has been done and a lot that has been achieved, but also we did face a lot of challenges. COVID-19, that is the black swan of the century, has actually hit the whole world very hard, even the strongest of economies, and Nigeria was not spared. But due to the proactive stance and steps that the President has taken, we've been able to come out quickly of the worst part of the crisis. The health crisis itself has been contained, and the economic crisis was also very well managed by his directive. We have had to cut down on expenditure by reviewing our budgets and reviewing our medium-term plans. And we cut down the expenditure by applying the provisions we cut down to enable us to spend more in the healthcare sector. The President has consistently said we must invest in infrastructure, even as we're investing in human capital, that we must invest in infrastructure, because at the end of the day, that is what will bring about a sustainable economic growth. So he has been firm about us continuing to invest in major roads, in bridges, and in railways. And that meant we have had to borrow from international financial institutions to be able to make these investments now, so that in the medium to long-term future, businesses will have a stable environment and business costs will come down in Nigeria. It is very important that we make these investments now. If we don't, if we're waiting to make these investments from revenue, then we will continue to lag behind in terms of infrastructure development, which is required for any developing economy to drive itself to sustainable growth. I hear a lot of complaints within the country about the level of debt that we have taken. At 25% of our debt to GDP, it's one of the lowest debt to GDP that we have in the world today. Yes, we are struggling with revenue, but we're doing a lot of work to shore up our revenue. We have launched in the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning a strategic revenue growth initiative since 2019, and we have been consistently ticking off on the key initiatives and targets that we have defined in those initiatives. Our revenue profile performance has been increasing. I'll give you an example. In 2018, our revenue performance was about 52%. In 2019, it became 55%. In 2020, despite the pandemic, the performance was 70%. The thing is, we have also been expanding our expenditure, because for an economy that is the size of Nigerian economy, $450 billion GDP, we need to invest more as government to be able to act in the role that government is supposed to act as an enabler to drive economic growth in the country. So we have carefully planned, even from the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, that we are going to be borrowing consistently up to over a period of 4 to 5 years. And then the borrowing levels will begin to decline because we will have reached some form of an optimal level of not only of our borrowing, but the need to kickstart infrastructure investment. Unfortunately, COVID-19 happened. And because of COVID-19 and the crash in the crude oil price, we have had to borrow more in 2020 than we ever planned to borrow. So that has somewhat displaced our projection of the reduction in the borrowing. But we have also, through the debt management strategy that was just approved by FEC, made an assessment, and we have charted a path to steer the country into that, reducing the level of borrowing. So this is supposed to be, as our revenue is increasing, we're reducing our borrowing. And it's a very delicate balancing act in view of the critical nature in which we find ourselves now, with increased need for investment in health, investment in education, investment in infrastructure. So there's so many competing demands. And then we have this increasing security situation also that is actually taking a lot of resources. So the president has given us our directive. He has said you must make sure you pay salaries and pay pensions, but you also make sure that the critical projects of roads, railway, airports, bridges, major infrastructure that are meant to drive the growth of the economy, that we consistently invest in them, even if we have to continue to borrow to do so.
Infrastructure remains a very, very important leverage for driving economic growth and inclusion. And the Ministry of Works and Housing has the responsibility to help improve the quality and the quantity of the road infrastructure assets, which are the roads and the bridges and the highways. At the moment, we have over 13,000 kilometers of road network under repair, reconstruction, or rehabilitation out of the existing 35,000 kilometers of federal road network. These 13,000 kilometers are comprised in about 850 different contracts which the ministry superintends across Nigeria. So very slowly but surely we are fulfilling the mandate of our ministry to expand the connectivity of Nigeria's states and by extension the towns and villages through road transport. This is a major driver for the economy, not only in terms of movements of goods and services. One of the places where we did a recent survey showed that travel time has reduced from 120 minutes to about 60 minutes with the construction of the road. It showed that the cost of transporting goods has dropped from about 500 naira per bag to about 300 naira per bag. It also shows that movement of agro-produce increased from about 7,000 bags per season to about 43,000 bags. So you can see the impact of the road. Of course, people got employed, supplies are going on. So there's a lot going on through road construction. By our activity, we unleash a connectivity of economic activities. We unleash the supply of building materials. So mining industry kicks into place. People are mining for sand, for crushed stones, for bitumen, and so on and so forth. We also generate the supply chain of construction equipment, lubricants, diesel, fuel. So on the second Niger Bridge, for example, the amount of diesel to be consumed for that project is about 19 million liters of diesel. And millions of cubic meters of sand, reinforcement, cement. So Imagine this on 850 different contracts. So anywhere you turn in Nigeria, this supply chain ecosystem is being driven. And that goes down to MSMEs, who are at the bulwark of producing and supplying bitumen, asphalt, diesel, cement, reinforcement. This is not to talk about the laboratories. People may not know, we have laboratories testing every piece of material that goes into the road. The quality of cement, the mix, the quality of the diesel, the asphalt, the laterite, the water. So we have 165 laboratories occupied by technicians, geotextile, and so on and so forth. This does not factor in estate valuers who help us in enumeration for compensation. So it's a whole supply chain of professionals, not to talk of architects, design, supervision, and engineering consultants. We also have subcontractors who supervise what the construction company is doing.
My name is Engineer Oluwaseyi Martins. I'm the Chief Resident Engineer and Project Supervisor of the Second Niger Bridge Project. The Second Niger Bridge Project is a project that has been conceived for a very long time, but it has finally come to life during this present administration. This project has a lot of socio-economic benefits, and it has impacted positively on the lives of the host communities, both in Anambra State and Delta State, and Nigeria as a whole. On this project site, we have people who have been employed directly, numbering above 600. The economic impact of this project cannot be easily accessed because it is very far-reaching, and the presence of this project in Anambra State and Delta State is being felt far and beyond. The people are very happy. The host communities, they partnered with us because apart from the social benefits, indigenes are also employed on this project. We can see how their lives are being improved.
The housing solution we have developed is a multifaceted one. First, we have tried to lead a program to build what we think will be an acceptable and hopefully affordable housing type based on surveys we did in 2015-2016 and construction that started in 2017. And that's going on in 34 states as the National Housing Program.
Well, basically, we've almost come to an end of construction, almost. There'll be tidbits, a little bit of minor corrections here and there, but what we started in 2017 or 18 has come to a conclusion. I don't know if you were part of the process of going to Ibadan. You will see that the 10 or 11 stations are almost ready. Some of the underpasses are ready. Some of the overpasses are also ready, because at least Costain, the bridge in Costain that was demolished or that has been replaced. The second contract on Lagos Ibadan, which begins for a better meter to the seaport, is almost coming to a conclusion. There are one or two problems that we have encountered, which we are trying to address before the commissioning sometime in June. And then once that is concluded, we intend to move cargoes from the seaport up to Ibadan. So some people may have to move their cargoes to Kano from Ibadan, either at the warehouse or at the IDP, depending on how fast we can go with the IDP. You've seen how massive this complex is. It's part of the construction, and there are so many of such stations, not as big as these, that are presently at the point of conclusion. One is at Abeokuta, the other is at Ibadan. We intend to replicate some of this as we continue from Ibadan to Kano and other parts of the country that we are constructing railways. We'll be able to move the AK cargoes from Warri up to Itabe. That we have done.
We're on a train from Lagos to Ibadan. This DMU came in during the COVID. It was cleared and moved to Papalanto, and it was tested, tried before today. So this is the first time it's carrying a lot of people on the trip. We have 10 train stations on this route from Apapa to Monia in Ibadan. And this present government has done a lot on the train modernization. They came in and completed the Abuja-Kaduna, and we have 9 stations there, 5 stopping stations and 4 crossing stations, making 9. And when we started in 2016, we started with 2 trips, then we later moved on to 8 trips. And we are talking about moving to 14 trips a day, and we have been able to send 10 DMUs, 10 coaches, and 2 locomotives new during this COVID period, and we are expecting from next week moving a set of DMU made up of 8 coaches, and 2 motor cars. At the same time, we have moved 10 coaches to the Itakpe-Warri. We have 12 stations on the Itakpe-Warri line. It's about 312 kilometer length of track, and it's over 35 years old. And the government came and took it up, finished the track, built modern stationing, and the stations are finished. Working on the signaling. We all hope to start the commercial operation by the end of September, God's willing. And we are going to have 4 trips on that route. The 2050 from Kaduna to Abuja is from 187 kilometers single track that was completed and put to use. And you have the Itakpe-Warri, 312 kilometers, not including the loops, completed, and Ibadan-Lagos from Ebute-Metta to a place called Moniya in Ibadan, about 156 kilometers, and from Ebute-Metta junction to the port, have 8 kilometers. But we are going to have about 16 kilometers within the port, the freight yard within the port. So if you add 156 plus 8 plus 16, 24 plus that's about 190 kilometers. And from Ebute-Metta to Apapa is a double line. So 156 times 2 is about 312 kilometers track that have been done. So we hope with things like this, enough, apart from the direct labor, that will be employed by Nigerian Railway Corporation. Between Itakpe and Abuja-Kaduna, we have employed close to 4,000 people in our employment in Nigerian Railway Corporation. And we are hoping to engage another 1,830 people to operate on a modern track in Ibadan-Lagos.
We should understand that the well-being and the security of this country is the paramount to any government. Based on that, the armed forces is doing all what it can to ensure the constitutional responsibility of the government and the people is carried out. So, we are now faced with challenges on security right from 2015 when we first came to present date. And we are all, I think it's a topical issue. Everybody knows the circumstances, why things are happening in the area of security and other form of banditry, criminality, and the rest of them. As far as the Ministry of Defense is concerned, we have been on it for a long time, and we had varied experience in the course of fighting the insurgency, the ISWAP, and the rest of them. And currently, I think we are on top of the situation. Prior to now, we are doing more of defensive activities to protect our bases and fight the war when we are challenged or when an objective is attacked. But right now, what we do is to carry the battle into areas where the banditries or the Boko Harams or whatever operating in that areas. We carry the battle to them. And this is mainly achieved by more intelligence we are getting from our field commanders and other sources that alert us, and we go all out on the offensive to ensure that we did the needful to protect the lives of the people. As far as I'm concerned, before the coming of the new chiefs, all what we do is defensive. But now we are on the offensive. And this offensive is carried out all through the area of the theater, with the master plan that we have to break them, let them concentrate wherever they like, and then later on we can break them. We know that this is their concentration. We can employ various services, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army. And when we come to the banditry around the country, I think we have understood their mode of operations. All we need is to probably, with more intelligence, to protect the citizens around so that nobody is captured for anything. Or if attack, we can respond appropriately. And I think we are on top of the situation as far as banditry, kidnapping, and the rest. We are doing our very best to ensure that we reduce drastically the attacks on citizens of this country. The Nigerian Army has brought into its platforms the BT tanks, main battle tanks, the light tanks, 107, 105, wheel truck. Some days ago we launched the JF-17 in Makadi, and we have launched the helicopters, Augusta 135. We have the MiG helicopters, which can operate even in the night. We have the Super Tucano Mascas helicopters, and we are aware of the Super Tucanos that are about to be launched, maybe in July or soon thereafter. And the government is doing a lot to provide them with all the protection, the armored, fragment jackets, suit, helmet, and anything that will protect him in order for him to be confident in going to the battle area. I think that is well pursued, and most of the soldiers will be operating with full combat kit to enable them to do their professional job. If a soldier is well equipped and he has the training, I'm sure he will fight very well. And this, I think, we have the capacity, and our soldiers are not doing badly on that. But we are trying to improve on that so that their morale can be higher. The other thing about them is that we really have to think of their welfare in terms of their allowances, which Mr. President has graciously approved from certain amount to certain amount, which is now being given to the troops.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch ATA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet, and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.